Hi, I'm Jamie Orr, and I came to FCP Euro with a Mk8, and instead I'm leaving with this box. What happened? I am Jamie Orr, and I'm standing here in the home, the headquarters of FCP Euro in Connecticut in the USA. And well, why would I mention the USA? Because there's a certain German number plate sitting right behind me in a 2021 Volkswagen Golf GTI Mk8. Now, to my right is also a 2021 Volkswagen Golf GTI, but this is the US version, the outgoing one, which is still available because they are not sold concurrently at the moment. Germany gets their cars first, just like, well, America gets the Hollywood movies first. But we do have just a couple of minutes to spend taking a first look and a first impression at what the Mk8 is going to have in store once it does get here. But I do want to emphasize, this is a German car. This is sold in Germany currently. If you are watching from there, you can go to your local dealership, hand over your money, and go home with one. And essentially that's what this car was. This is from a US dealership. This is literally a brand new, not yet sold, fresh off the truck at the dealership 2021. What makes this one special? Well, for 2021, we do have the VMAX spoiler on top. It actually comes with summer tires and fancy new wheels, which in Connecticut in January, maybe you would like to purchase a winter set of tires as well. But this does mean it's the pinnacle of the 7.5, the 7.5, or the facelifted Mk7, where the 2016 Mk7 on my left is that first version of the car. But let's move on to what we all want to talk about, the Mk8. I mean, I've driven this one, but it's still weird being able to just reach out and touch it because we won't see these until the end of this year. That's the bad news. The good news is at launch, we are expecting all trim packages to be available, including a manual transmission in both the GTI and the Golf R, which is something that Europe or most of the rest of, or indeed the rest of the world, may not get in the Golf R. And really, when we stand next to them side by side, even the fender shapes, and I'm a nerd, I'm a big nerd, I love body creases and lines, but this really does look really similar. And for as many times as we've looked at these photographs of these headlights, very polarizing headlights. And I'm a big Volkswagen fan. I'm probably gonna love the car no matter what, but genuinely, I think it looks pretty darn sharp. And when you see them side by side, you can see the difference. And on two factory cars, the height difference really isn't much difference on the hood line. Yes, it drops down a little bit more, but if anything, I think the whole body looks a little bit lower and sleeker. And those teaser photos we've seen of the Golf R make it look really sharp. So I'm pretty excited about that. Engine, yes, it's the next generation of the EA888. So that same 16 valve, 4-cylinder, 2-liter turbo. Yes, it has more power. Yes, there's some more updates there. The US will get full power, I expect. And I do just want to disclaim this. This is not a US car. I don't know any insider secrets. We're not beating anybody to the champ. This is just straight out of a German showroom car, and it's very exciting to get to see it. Other big differences though, the interior and available specifications. Heated rear seats. Did I know or think that we needed heated rear seats in a Golf GTI? No, genuinely not, but it is going to be available. Digital cockpit, of course, heated steering wheel. Once you've had a heated steering wheel, it's kind of hard to go back from that, but yes, that will be an option on the GTI in the USA, which is pretty amazing. Things that jump out, I mean, really, when you stand here, the mirror, the corner light, the corner window, it looks very similar. It is an evolution. If you are a cycling person, you'll know every year a new bicycle comes out, they say it has more vertical compliance and more linear stiffness. And Volkswagen says the same things about this platform. It's a next generation evolution. So although the suspension mounting points are the same, they're saying, no, there's a lot more stiffness, etc. And I would believe it, because every other generation going back has had more high tensile steel, less weight, etc. Volkswagen's done that on the Mk8 by having more aluminum subframe pieces, and I'm trying my hardest not to say aluminium and give away my non-Americanness there. Talking about the elephant in the room, the hood prop. Yes, it has no strut, so I have to lift it myself and I have to lift the hood prop, but I own a 2019 Mk7 Jetta and it's the same thing on that. Do I get over it? Almost. I still talk about it, but that to me is one of those things, the aftermarket, people will be able to supply you a hood prop if you want to do it. I don't want to say the word cost cutting, but if that money's been put elsewhere into the chassis, into the platform, into all of the standard other equipment, I'm okay with that because we can fix those little things ourselves if we want to, or forget about it because it's just a hood prop. So going back to differences up front, the killer intake is amazing. This one does not have those funky fog lights, which I have yet to see in person. I'm looking forward to that. But the headlights before I really did like. In fact, the owner of this one did swap in the 7.5 headlights because he liked the newer one so much. These, I think, take it even further. It does look like a generational jump. The bumper is, again, an evolution, a little bit more sleek. And if you're looking at the two engine bays, they are very, very similar. They really are. You can see the ECU, fuse panel, battery layout, everything is pretty much in the same spot, which I think is going to mean we'll be able to jump into modifications. It means a lot of those parts that maybe you've upgraded, or those parts that you've learned how to replace, if it's a control arm, etc. You're going to feel right at home, it looks like, in the Mk8. So whatever it may be, if you're putting Corteco bushings onto your Mark 7.5 or 7 when time comes on a Mk8, I'm pretty sure you're going to use the same guide on how to do it. Another thing that people have talked about is the engine cover. It does seem weird not having a VW logo to me on it. Fine, but what I didn't know is it's actually rubber. It's like some weird floppy material, and again, looking on the internet, I didn't realize that. So it is weird. Do I think it looks or feels cheap? Not really, but it's not the hard plastic that I'm used to, but I'm sure we'll get used to it. And yes, if you buy a 2021 GTI USA spec, you do get the hydraulic hood prop. Is there a mounting point for that? Here it is, exclusive, it's right there. Literally the mount is exactly the same spot on the chassis. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's gonna be a pretty easy thing. So if this really does annoy you, just FCPEuro.com, order whatever the solution for that will be when the time comes. Let's take a look at the interior, because really all I have to do is say digital cockpit and get past that so we can get to those seats, which kind of are to die for. Inside, honestly, I think is where some of the biggest changes have happened between the Mk7 and the Mk8 Golf GTI. The more I look around, the more I'm seeing things all over. The center console is a complete redesign. The shifter is completely different. The engine start-stop is flashing at me, beeping at me. There's wireless cell phone charging, but with like a little cover that covers the phone up that drops down. Golf is embossed in the front of the center console, and then I haven't even started onto the haptic controls. So again, we saw this a little bit on the ID4. Whoa, okay, thanks Foo Fighters, we can't use you. How do I turn it down? There we go, on the spot. And there's no click. It's just you push the button, and you won't be able to hear that because YouTube will totally defund this video or kick it off. But there's really a big jump in generation here. I already thought that, yeah, my Mk7 Jetta came with the digital cockpit, but this is a big leap forwards. The hexagon design feels okay. I don't want to get into like dash stroking or anything or too much VW Vortex forum dashboard. Well, wait, here, let's do it then. It is a soft touch dashboard. The seats are to die for. I think the red extra accent there and the whole shape with the built-in headrest is phenomenal. It's a big jump. I don't think anybody will be disappointed with the interior on the Mk8 or indeed the heated seat button there. The car has just told me the 12-volt battery ist fast leer. So I think it's telling me it is time to get out of the interior and take a look underneath the car. But if I have to give a thumbs up rating, It gets 2 thumbs up for the interior. It is a big, big jump, and I think everyone's gonna love it. So let's go underneath the car and take a look at that. As soon as this car went up on the lift, a crowd of people swarmed underneath to see what was happening. And there are some big changes. There's also a lot of things that we recognize. Hey, a fuel tank's a fuel tank. Plastic pieces here are. Now this has the European OPF, which is a similar system to DPF-ish, but it's European only. So when you see this catalytic converter, it is very different. It has weird pipes and things. That probably doesn't matter. What does matter is this amazing subframe. It looks spectacular. I wouldn't be surprised to see this on one of the TCR race cars. Shout out and congratulations to FCP Euro for winning the championship with them. But this thing is phenomenal, and that's one of those weight-saving parts that's coming on the Mk8 that wasn't there on the Mk7. The other big thing I saw, the differential. The diff locking motor is really there and proud, but the whole diff itself looks really intense and overbuilt. So I think it'll be really exciting to see just how much of a difference that makes when we're driving on the extreme. Brakes look pretty similar. Aluminum hubs, steel control arms, but it still feels and looks at home under a Golf. So if you've been under a Mark 5, 6, 7, you'll still feel at home. It's just a bit more high end, a little bit more expensive looking. Yeah, there's a lot more to take in, but we do only have a limited amount of time with the car, and we're very grateful for the opportunity to see it. Again, this is a German market one. They are coming to America. This is the automatic. The stick is coming in both the GTI and the Golf R. The heated steering wheel, all of those fun bits are coming to the USA. I can't wait to see what parts are going to be developed for it, what we can do with it, what fun we can have with them. So big thank you to FCP Euro. Big thanks to everyone involved, allowing us to have this brief time. We'll see you again in the future. Bye.